G'day. So this is episode 7 or 8. I'm not sure. I can't remember. Didn't go to training on Sunday. It's Tuesday today. Ended up messing around with injured dogs and a lot of considerations, like a crescendo of all about dogs this last week, but instead, because I had puppies, so there's 3 generations and there's all this stuff about dogs, but instead I'm having to deal with all this stuff about humans, ironically, which is what it's all about, and it was particularly a heavy week this last week. I'm sure everybody felt it. It's almost like a in between from the ethereal and the emotional to the physical body. So it seems like it sits on us, like sort of like that, it just sits on us. It's almost physical. It felt like to me, had a bit of a harrowing time. So I ended up being in the company of my lover, have dinner, and then I was going to rush off to training because sort of delayed, having to mess around with dogs and this and that. There's always a complication, and hadn't made love with her. I just made a decision, and this is a big thing about making a decision and owning your decision and being responsible for your decision and being real about what your decision is. So I did make a decision to make love with her instead of going to training. Because that was the moment that was there. That was what was there to cultivate, rather than leave that interaction and rush off to get to training and a bit of a rush of stress where it was already, despite the best efforts, just had a dog jam its foot in the child gate and then it couldn't walk. It was too big and strong and tough here, and bulky to be able to support itself on its other front leg. So there's that, and there's all kinds of other things going. It's all about dogs. This one's not mine. She's 5 weeks old. And this is the mother. Little girl. Little good girl. And then I do this thing with therapy dogs for people. So I've got these other dogs, but I've had a bit of harrowing time and 5 pups that I've just given away. I did have this idea to sell them, actually get some money to sort of pay for some of my foundation's activities that I just do off my own back, but then I just end up giving the dogs away. And you know what? It's not a bad thing to just give somebody a dog. To just look in someone's eyes when they're holding a little puppy on their heart, and to just give it to them. I'm not going to lose sleep over that. I'm not going to have a nervous breakdown because I gave somebody a dog instead of selling it to them or negotiating on price. And this is what I do. I just give everything away. But I've got this real thing about a session with Channel Consciousness Mercadan, which is my teacher as well, and saying yesterday, when you clear everything from your being, then there's all this room for the way, the Tao, the way to fill your entire field and your entire field of influence with everything that you need. And all the things you couldn't imagine that you need. But if you're thinking that you need more money, you need this, more that, then that's what you're full of. So there's no room for the way to fill you. So there's that. But I have been having a bit of a harrowing time. I've shed some pretty full-on tears this morning. I just came from the vet. I thought one of the puppies had a vaccine injury. The vet thinks it's meningitis, so I had to pay for the treatment, and either way the symptoms kind of match. So we got some treatment. So there's antibiotics here. One of those, sorry, beg your pardon, that's meloxicam, miracle stuff. I'm in natural health. People think that I don't approve of allopathic medicine or modern medicine, but I do, and I use it, and the intervention. Yeah, it's really it's miracle stuff. I mean, that's what it's for, emergency intervention. So I got this stuff here. There's antibiotics, amoxicillin and clavulanic acid. So basically amoxicillin and penicillin. And this is for children, this is for human children, but it's cheaper than one for the dogs. So the vet really looked after me. Because I didn't have any money, I gave away all the pups and costs in all the vet checks and the vaccinations and everything else and logistics and all this, and so I'm running about $700 loss, and then I just had to pay for that. But luckily I just got paid a bit of money and I paid for it, so I could sort that out. So it's been a very harrowing time. But I've been having to deal with all this other stuff, all these opinions that people have, that they don't know anything, but they think they know something. And having to deal with these opinions. Stop that. Oh, stop. Stay there. Oh, stop that. Having to deal with these opinions and people's emotional heaviness and what they inject into my world and what I have to put up with. While in real time, I'm dealing with other people having a real crisis and I'm helping them through that, human beings. And then I'm not even getting to deal with my dogs while it's a week that it should be all about dogs. And a very difficult time in this last 24 hours after having picked up this little girl who should be twice as big as what she is. So she was in a terrible state, but having the antibiotics and the meloxicam with anti-inflammatory pain relief, she's doing a lot better. I put her down to have a wee, and she picked up a bone where she wasn't taking any food at all. She's incredibly frail and tiny, but this is massive improvement that she's actually trying to eat something. So the vet gave me this can of like mousse so I can get a syringe and suck it up. And so I'm about to put that down the throat, but I'm just giving her a chance to chew and get all the juices and get all that happening, you know. I think that's very important, and to work on the teeth and all of that, because she's just been in such a sallow, terrible state. But I tell you what, it's absolutely amazing, the antibiotics and the meloxicam. And this meloxicam, I've used it before, but Elvis had some allergic response. His testicles swelled up literally to the size of a tennis ball. He was in a terrible state. My daughter had some meloxicam for a cat in the fridge, like a bottle of it, and so I gave Elvis, I worked out the dosages for his weight, and I gave him some down his throat and sorted him out straight away. It's remarkable stuff. So this is about the training. It's about the practical application of who we are in life, about who we become in life. So it was a particularly heavy week last week, and there was a lot of magic that came in it as well. Even though there's a lot of heavy stuff going on, then there was a lot of magic that was there very clearly. And I found myself in a place to be able to appreciate that. And I found myself in the right place, in the right zone, to go to training on Sunday night, to really push myself into something. But then I chose to just have that connection. It's like one of the most meaningful things you can do is this training. One of the most meaningful things you can do is make love to a woman. So that's what I did, and she'd been through some really difficult stuff, heavy stuff this last week too. I happened to be with her as well, while she had to deal with some really challenging and difficult, heavy stuff. And there was a number of other things that happened in my life. Also, that night, that was last Tuesday, so it's Tuesday today, that was 7 days ago. And yeah, we all pulled through, but Now, it's not easy sometimes. It's not easy. For me, I found that there's some very serious dysfunction there, latent in the background with my children and the mother of her children because of her mother. And that woman, she's an absolute monster. She's the most monstrous, horrible, disgusting monster of a human being that I've ever met. And I've met some pretty bad ones, particularly the work that I do and the kind of life that I've lived. So, the mother of my children's mother is absolute. I can't even describe how horrible a human being she is. So there's some really serious dysfunction and damage going on there in the background with my children and with their mother that are living next door to her mother. And this is a real tragedy and some really heavy and dark, horrible stuff that I've had to deal with, which I'm not going to go into. So the training set me in good stead to be able to just deal with that and to be able to do what I'm doing last week, dealing with other people's trauma and other people's heaviness and very challenging, difficult times. This little girl, I just gave her a little bone. And sorting out other people's problems, because people just create problems for themselves. And like I said, it's all about the dogs, but it ended up being all about the people. Because people have just got all these ideas and it's just so much. So ended up the people that the dogs were going to, then it didn't go to any of them. And instead, it ended up going to these other people and I just gave the dogs to them. And I'm happy to do that. And so it was just such a thing, like that was already just done. Bang, just done. It was the divine, it's quite magical. And then these people are still humming and hawing and to and fro and being difficult about the dogs. It's like, well, they're gone. And I don't care about your money because the well-being of the dogs is what matters. So people are just such difficult creatures sometimes, you know. Whoops. But what I'm saying is I've had to deal with all this kind of stuff, and I was just able to deal with this heaviness that was there with my own children and my own children's mother, and with my friend, and then with a couple of other friends, dealing with some really heavy stuff and helping them through that, plus deal with some other heavy stuff for people in the community, and not being able to focus on the dogs, ironically. And I was just able to deal with it all. And I was able to keep perspective. It's like I kind of create my own paradox. So that gives the space for the duality and for the opposites to exist. And for me to explore something experiential. And I found like I had these tears that just would come. I'd be doing a sadness gong exercise about my children, going, I just have to let the children go, as though I don't even have children anymore. And then these tears were about to choke on them, about to break through my eyes, but they didn't, and they weren't there. Because it became apparent I already cried all those tears years ago. Because this situation's been going on for quite a while like this. So that was like 2 months ago. Then this last week there was a few occasions, there's 3 occasions that I spoke something to someone, and then I could feel the response in them and in me that these tears are about to come and choke in the throat, and then they come through the eyes, but they just didn't. But yesterday somebody said something to me which is all about their hardship and their challenge, and then about how they rose up and faced themselves and their hardship, and now they're doing a lot better. And that's what brought the tear through to my eye, and I actually lacrimated my lacrimal gland released a bit of lacrimation, released a tear. Then I find today, then 3 separate occasions, and the tears were to flow. Do this so I don't need to keep going back and filling up. I got no worries crying. I can cry and continue to do what I need to do, and continue to act, and that's the big thing. I think that's what separates us. I think it also makes a lot about what a man is. You know, if we have rites of passage that are different in different cultures, or we don't have rites of passage. Like in this culture, we don't have rites of passage. Now my son's 19 and he's a man. And so much attitude and all this stuff, but I mean, what rites of passage does a boy go through these days in Australia, in civilised Brisbane, Australia? Especially when they don't need to leave their bedroom. And because their mum, you know, there's these dynamics you have, like mothers and sons. Mothers mollycoddle their sons, but they're really harsh on their daughters. And then fathers mollycoddle their daughters, but they're really harsh on their sons. And there's a balance there. Except for if the woman gets in the way, particularly you've got single mums. You know, it's like half or more than half, it seems, of divorces are initiated by women. It seems so easy they can just change their mind. They're the ones that want the vows and all this kind of stuff most often, it seems, and they want the man to commit to them, and they want those vows, and they want that special day, and blah blah blah, all of that. But then they decide they don't want this anymore. It just seems so easy to just change one's mind. So there's all these sensitivities that I've been trying to deal with, negotiate around, and let my kid's mum know that I support her and I love her and I care for her and I'm on her side. But she's determined to make me the enemy. And like, fair enough, there's all this stuff that she could use that actually did happen, that is actually me, that actually did happen, that she could have a problem with still, years later if she wanted to. But it seems that she doesn't have a problem with that stuff. That's not what is going on now. What's going on now is she's just making stuff up that did not actually occur. And having a post-traumatic stress response or experience to something that did not actually occur. So what I'm getting from it is that there's this experience of something that did not occur, and then there's this traumatic, there's post-traumatic stress, or it's a traumatic response, or a traumatic experience that is maintaining. So we've got to deal with that. But we can't talk about it, because someone might get upset, someone might be uncomfortable. So we can't work out what's going on, and the best thing we can work out is that there's a post-traumatic stress response as the experience. There's an experienced trauma to something that did not actually occur. So I'm still trying to get my head around that. I'm still trying to understand it. But in any case, you know, what it comes down to is support, which has always been there. But, you know, my kid's mum, it's like she just wanted to have a fight, wanted to have this disharmony. And that's where I let it go. So that's what this is all about, you know, because, you know, what the training is making us have all of this skill and capability and composure and to be centered and to be sensitive and all this kind of stuff. And I think I really kicked some goals in all of those realms last week. However, there was something there with my kid's mum. It's probably there's 2 occasions, both of it where she's trying to express something that is completely misdirected. One of it towards my gay friend, who's very gay and very gentle and absolutely no threat to her or anyone else. And she's arranged to meet him, show him a puppy, and then suddenly treat him like he's a really violent criminal and that her life's in danger if she goes anywhere near him. And so I said, all right, well, if this is the case, if you've got this fear for your safety, then what we'll do, I'll just organise for the police to be there. And I'll come and I'll stay on the street. So I won't enter your property. There's no barrier about that. But anyway, I'm not going to go on your property, so you can't have any issue with that. And then I have 3 police cars. So there should be 2 police officers in every car. So, if you're making this thing up, like this is the thing, if anyone threatens to call the police, I call the police. The police come and they find out what's going on, they sort it out. They don't just come and arrest me because somebody said that I'm doing something that I'm not doing. So these are the bubbles that need to be popped, you see. These are pimples full of pus that need to be popped. And so anyway, that was not sensitive enough, whatever it was, I missed the point. So basically she's sort of going into some extreme, and so I met her with that to show her that I accept her. Right? I hear what you're saying, you think you need police or something like that, so I'll organise the police, and then the police will be there. So there's absolutely no way that anything can happen to you because there's going to be 6 police officers there. But she took that as something of an extreme thing. I don't understand. But anyway, I ended up taking a phone call from her that I shouldn't have. And I got bitches fighting as well last 2 days, so that just makes it all even worse. Bitches, man. The girls fight. They fight. Bitches. Holy shit. So anyway, I come down to hand over these pups that I insisted be born at her house so that her and the children have this experience of new life in the pups. Because I never had anything like that. Where I had baby chickens, ducklings, budgies, puppies, kittens, calves every single year as I was growing up. Every single year. Every single year. So it's miracle of new life, but I think what happened is this pain body came to resolution, and then another pain body was able to unfold in a bigger, deeper, more hidden one. So anyway, it comes down to this thing on my son's birthday when he's not talking to me, that his mother calls me, and I shouldn't have taken the phone call, I just had a feeling, but there was some feeling in my heart. So I took the phone call because I want to be human. I want her to know that I'm here and I accept her and I love her, and all this stuff she's making up is completely misdirected and it's irrelevant because when it comes to the crunch, I'm fucking here for her. But anyway, she just wanted to have that fight, that disharmony. I wouldn't give her the fight. So it comes down to this thing, like it's all about her. Like it's like I'm the one getting the police, but no, it's not. It's like her saying that this needs to happen. She's the one that mentioned the police first. And so I go like, what is this? That puppies to be handed over. She's making all this stuff up that's not real. So it comes to like, well, we need to find somewhere for the pups to be handed over. And there's nowhere appropriate. So it ends up, the only place that she'll agree to is Ferny Grove Police Station. And then she wants to argue with me about which entrance to the police station. Well, police stations generally only have one entrance to the public. But that's not good enough. She wanted the argument. She wanted to fight. She wanted to argue with me about which entrance to the police station. So she didn't get the fight. So those are the 2 things that I didn't do well enough with last week when it comes to this training, and the training making us more sensitive, and the audience being a reflection of the cosmos, and every person we interact with being a reflection of the cosmos and being an audience to us and taking our attention, what we give our attention to, and how we feel and how we change, how we adapt, how we interact. So I did a lot of good things for people in really bad situations last week, and I moved a lot of heaviness. I dealt with a lot of heaviness myself, but I also was in great stead to encounter some serious magic to make up for all that heaviness, and we've been in a position to share that and to appreciate it and savor it, recognize it. And then I've had all kinds of horrible things said to me, and said about me. And none of it's come close to me because it's irrelevant. Other people have gone to try and stand up for me. It's like, don't even bother. It's irrelevant. Don't even waste your time. Don't even bother. But still, they couldn't help themselves. So we see, we get to have a look at ourselves of the shadow side and how we react and what triggers us and makes us respond. And we're not going to say anything. And suddenly we're giving someone a good talking to and all this kind of stuff. So I found it's very tactile. It's very contextual and it's very elusive at the same time. I was going to do some filming this morning, but I just couldn't pull myself together well enough to do it because I was going to talk about the puppy. I was going to film because I was just there nurturing the puppy and just looking after him and just nursing the puppy. That's all I've been doing the last 24 hours. And then before that, all I was doing was looking after Handsome here. And then before that, all I was doing was looking after people and trying to deal with the dogs. So this little puppy, she was in a terrible state. I meant to do it. I meant to film her. But I actually couldn't really pull myself together that well. I suppose I could have, but I just didn't do it. And then she's doing a lot better now. But she's tiny. She should be 2.5 times the size of what she is. She's going to be like this solid fella here. But the fact that she's eating now is absolutely monumental. I'm just letting her have a bit of a chew, and I'm going to go and get some food, syringe it down her throat so she's got that nutrition. You know, this is really important. I think that she has some chewing and activates her tongue, and she's using it. Moo, don't you dare steal her food. Don't you dare. Don't you dare. See, this is the human stuff that gets in over the top. Xena's messed up. See what the bitches do to each other. I broke up these fights and they should know not to fight again because I'm a bit different to everyone else, but there might still be some fights. Now any other dog will back down, but this one here, she won't back down. Now I really had to deal with some pretty heavy stuff this morning. And then I go to the vet, and then all these things have been, there's all this energy latent. I'm just dealing with what I'm dealing with, and it's very tragic to see all this energy put into something against me from the mother of my kids and from my kids, and telling these lies, like, not that any of it affects me, but it sort of shows this dysfunction that is there with the mother of my kids and with her family and then with my children, trying to forcibly reinvent the wheel completely unnecessarily and dysfunctionally with these maladaptive coping responses, because that's easier than, it's easier to basically almost kill yourself doing reinventing a wheel that doesn't need to be reinvented, and then not doing it really well and not making it better than a triangle, rather than communicate with me. So it's easier to cut the nose off to spite the face rather than communicate with me. And so I don't know why, but you know, that's a latent heaviness that we're able to transform through this acting training, because it's very much experiential stuff in the real time, here and now, using the audience as a reflection to the cosmos. So this is just a hiatus between tending for the dogs, so now I'm going to get that syringe some food down little baby's neck, and then clean this pus up. It's not as bad as what it looks, I'm not too fast. I've seen this before. She's had her entire face ripped off twice before by the other bitch, and she's ripped the other bitch's face off twice before too. Incredible that they might want to fight again now, and just sort of comes up. But they won't do it again because they got in trouble today. Didn't physically lay a hand on her or anything like that. Look at this little girl. She's doing so much better. So that's what she'll turn into. I've got a feeling that she will turn into that dog now because she will survive this. We know how do you act when tears rolling down your face and blurring your vision and you're choking on and your throat hurts and your nose is running. You got to do what you got to do. So how do you act? What action do you take and what action do you not take? So I feel like I dealt with this a lot better than what I probably would have dealt with 10 weeks ago, before I started doing this training. I think I probably would have dealt with it well, but I wouldn't have got anywhere near as much out of the human living experience as what I have got, because I've got this tactile training exercise, which is quantum mechanics, that allows me to explore myself and to express myself and to be who I am. And it's funny, all these things that are said about me, all these people and all these opinions offered, that those people really aren't living. Because if they were, they wouldn't really be offering those opinions, and they wouldn't have these ideas. That's the limit of their consciousness and their vital force looping back on itself, back on itself, back on itself, back on itself. And there's tiny little circles. Tiny little circles. That's as far as self-limiting. Whereas, and no one knows, I think a lot of people, they don't know what they're doing, or they don't know why they're doing it. I know what I'm doing, I know why I'm doing it, at the very least. That's what I come up with last week. There's a real thing about being real, that this is an uncomfortable moment, and just being here in this uncomfortable moment. And talking about it, and not pretending that it's not this situation that it is. Anyway, I was in a terrible state this morning. I do wish that I did film something just so I documented that, because I had something more to say. But now, being to a vet, I thought it was a vaccine injury. I still kind of inclined to think that, but the vet's sort of talking about meningitis, and that can be infection comes through the mouth. But I still think it's sort of coming from injecting the microchip in the back, under the skin, or a vaccination being injected in. And I'll be able to work that out. But in any case, the baby is doing monumentally better than what she was. So I'm doing a lot better than what I was. I'm really clear about it. I'm really clear about it because of this training. Because of the Praxis. Praxis. It's that practical application, not being lost in the thoughts or the ideas or the theory or the philosophy, but doing. The practical application, doing. So yeah. It's been a hell of a week. Thank Christ I got this training. Alright,